Did you see Abe Shinzo, the ex-prime minister of Japan, get, killed? Kind of got assassinated in Nara, Japan. So, like, Abe, not Abe, it's Abe Shinzo. He got shot and killed in Nara, Japan. He's not the prime minister today, but my God, I haven't seen an assassination like that since JFK. I haven't seen an assassination like that since the Elizabeth, Empress of Austria, was, stabbed to death by Luigi Lucina. I hadn't seen an assassination like that since Umberto I of Italy, who had killed peasants at the bread riots in Milan. 82 to 400 peasants were killed because they wanted some bread. So Gaetano Bresci, he didn't take kindly to that. I hadn't seen an assassination like that since Umberto I of Italy got shot and killed by Bresci, Gaetano Bresci, or since Elizabeth, Empress of Austria, was killed by Luigi Lucina, or Leon Zolgaz, the guy that shot McKinley. The 25th president said he was inspired by that Gaetano Bresci, the one who shot Umberto I of Italy. So my God, Abe Shinzo, he wasn't really assassinated. He wasn't a prime minister, right? He's the ex-prime minister. So he hasn't been prime minister for 2 years. But Abe Shinzo is now a motherfucking martyr. I haven't seen an assassination like this Abe Shinzo assassination, like Jovenel Moise got assassinated in July 7th, 2021. Almost 1 year ago to the day. So that's interesting. It's a 1 year anniversary. Is that just a CIA mission to get us distracted on some other things and make us feel sad about Japan? So I haven't seen an assassination like that since July 7th, 2021, since Jovenel Moise was assassinated. So, and that was greenlit by the United States. So here's some details. What the hell is going on with this ex-Japanese prime minister? So he's a fucking martyr, right? It's not a mortal technique, but Abe Shinzo, he was the longest serving prime minister. So he's, got notable distinction. This is democracy because he was the prime minister from 2006 to 2007, and then just for a year or two, and then he comes back 2012 and then serves for 8 years. So even though he's like the longest serving prime minister, it's less than 10 years. You got motherfucking Stalin and pieces of shit, a whole bunch of dictators that have, 10, 20, 30 years. Even FDR, 12 years? But he didn't even serve 10 years, but he's the longest serving prime minister in Japan. Now, Abe Shinzo was given a speech. He was given a speech when he had got shot and killed. He was big on the TPP, so I don't know if that was why. It doesn't seem political. He was shot and killed by some man named Yamagami, and the guy's first name is not Yamaguchi, it's Tetsuya. So Tetsuya Yamagami said he just shot him because he was pissed off and frustrated with the guy. He didn't belong to any political organization. He wasn't doing it for any big political, apparently he wasn't doing it for any bigger, big political point. He was just frustrated. He just frustrated him, So Abe Shinzo is now a martyr, right? Abe Shinzo is a martyr. Was he that important? Or was he that terrible? He was actually engaged in democracy. At the time, he was given a political speech, and he was shot from behind, shot into the neck 2 times, and somehow it hit his heart as well. Showed no signs of life when he went to the hospital. So he was basically, dead and gone right there. And I didn't actually see the shooting. Just saw up to the point, and then I saw after the aftermath where they, get the guy in this MacGyver gun. It wasn't a MacGyver gun. It was more of a MacGruber gun. He was in open cahoots. Abe Shinzo was in open cahoots with the Japan Conference. I don't know who the Japan Conference is, but there's some kind of group that he's associated with. Oh, you're associated with the Japanese Conference? Like I said, it doesn't seem political. It is shocking. It's shocking to see one person kill another person, but this, Yamagami, this Tetsuya Yamagami, I'm not sure if he was put up to it by some wealthy man or some Sri Lanka Tamils or anything. It just seemed like he was frustrated and, had an opportunity. It's even more crazy when you consider that Japan has very strict gun laws. In Japan, you cannot have a handgun. You can't have a handgun in Japan. How could a prime minister be shot? Nobody in Japan is allowed to have a handgun, and only hunters who are approved can have a rifle. Not for sure where Japan is on shotguns, tanks, mortars, AKs, ARs, or F-15s, but freaking crazy. Last year in 2021, Japan's got a population of 125 million, right? Population, 125 million. That's 1/3 the population of the United States. So how come Japan has so many people on that tiny little island? Japan had only 10 gun-related crimes in all 2021, the whole entire fucking year. That's crazy. Only 10 gun-related crimes in all 2021, the entire year. And the ex-prime minister just got shot and killed with some makeshift MacGruber gun. He got shot and killed with a MacGruber gun. How do you regulate against something like that? The guy, just put a squirt gun together and had some gunpowder, squirt gun, and duct tape? MacGruber, I mean, my God, MacGyver, MacGruber, this is... How come America doesn't have as many people as Japan has on that damn island? So it looks like a 3D printer gun. It looks like a squirt gun with duct tape and some gunpowder. I think it's okay out there. We'll keep going. Just keep an ear. But you had I'm the stalwart of stalwarts, right? That was one guy. Why did people kill anybody? It's crazy. Assassinations are sic semper tyrannis. Isn't that what Abraham Lincoln's killer said? Semper Fi? No, that's Marines. But sic semper tyrannis, e pluribus unum? No, that's the seal on the money. Sic semper tyrannis. Right? That's what. And then the stalwart of stalwarts. That one guy said he was the stalwart. Is that James Garfield, right? The spoil system of the civil service reform wasn't... The spoil system was corrupt, I tell you. So James Garfield is going to get killed by a guy, and the guy shouts out, I am the stalwart of stalwarts. Not Star Wars, but stalwarts. And what stalwarts is, that's loyal. I am the most loyal of the loyalist. I am the most loyalist of the loyalist. He could have said that. That would have made more sense. The stalwart of the stalwarts. I bet you when that guy said it, he was thinking he was clever as shit. You know what? I am loyal. I'm the most loyal of the loyalists. I'm the most stalwart of the stalwarts. It's hard to say. I bet when he said it out loud, he's probably like, shit. History is not going to judge me kindly. And then, how's he the most loyal of the loyalist? I am the most loyalist of all the loyalists. I am the stalwart of the stalwarts. I love you, James Garfield. I am going to go to hell in a handbasket. Hell, I'll go to hell and back for you, James Garfield. Unless you don't give me a goddamn job, you motherfucker. I'll go to hell and back for you unless you don't let me work in the government, you motherfucker. You son of a bitch, you. Then and only then. Then you're not so loyal, you son of a bitch, unless you get a nice comfy office job, some air conditioning, and a refrigerator with benefits. I'm your number one fan, said Kathy Bates to James Caan in Misery. I'm your number one fan. You're my number one fan? Okay, well then, I should quit writing books. This is not going to work out for me. R.I.P. to James Caan. R.I.P. to Abe Shinzo. I don't understand why this Tetsuya, this Yamagami, this Yamaguchi guy, I don't understand why he killed him. I don't understand why he did it. It seems like mindless fucking violence. Is that the point? We have a bunch of mindless fucking violence, and that's... That Yamagami, he was ex-Navy from 2002 to 2005. The Navy, the Japanese Navy, was actually formed after World War II. They had the Imperial Navy before them, but then it was just the Republic Navy, the Navy of the Republic. So that Yamagami, he was just all about the Republic, and this Abe guy is all about imperialism. He tried to be an imperialistic, so maybe he was mad about that. You weren't being patriotic to the Republic. Long live the Republic. Viva la Repubblica. And then people want to talk about supporting the troops, right? This Yamagami, he was Navy, right? So for 3 years, he got to have a decent job in Japan, and this is the thanks. And maybe, because he doesn't have no power, maybe he doesn't have no say-so. He used to be somebody back in the Navy, and then, now he's just 17 years later. But that's where he got his military training, right, with the Navy. That's why he was able to make some sort of squirt gun and duct tape. Just took squirt gun, duct tape, had a tic-tac with a paper clip, and just, put it together, light it on the side, and MacGruber, right? So, are we not supposed to support the troops? I mean, just the Navy? I don't understand when we're on the water too long, our ears get all waterlogged. If we just are on the water too long, is that the thing about the Navy? I don't know the connection with him being ex-Navy. Because it doesn't seem like it's political. It doesn't seem like he was, put there by some rich people or by some drug dealers or by a government. Who was this Yamagami? Seems like a nobody. Seems like he was just a lone gunman, right? Seems like he was just the guy who killed JFK, right? Just a single lone gunman. Maybe that's why people can't believe it, because it's just so wild. I mean, my God, he's like that powerful guy. Somebody just came right up and that Gonzalez, the guy who killed McKinley, I bet you he would have had a better PR if his last name wasn't so hard to pronounce. Gonzalez. So, who was this guy? Does it matter to me? Does it matter to America? Yamagami seems like he's just some loner guy who just, was frustrated. Some loner guy who was just frustrated. And while, guy was giving a speech, decided to go ahead and take him out. Hopefully the guy that he was giving a speech wins that election. I mean, my God, you can't really get a better endorsement than that. How about if I go there and get assassinated for you? Is that okay? That Keisato, K-E-I Sato, S-A-T-O, he better win. I mean, if, my God, the ex-prime minister doesn't, him getting assassinated in a country where there's no gun violence, if that doesn't bolster his electoral appeal, I'm not for sure if anything. It should definitely be a light on this campaign right now. I mean, my God, and then that Keisato, maybe that's the point. Now I want to know who this Keisato is. What did he know and when did he know it? 67 years old, this Abe Shinzo. Abe Shinzo is only 67 years old. He's a silver fox. He was the prime minister up until 2020, and he resigned because he had some sort of health issue. Some sort of ulcerative colitis. So he retired 2 years ago. Abe Shinzo had retired 2 years ago for this ulcerative colitis. So that's why I say it's not an assassination in the sense of it wasn't like killing James Garfield or, Abraham Lincoln, JFK, or William McKinley because they were presidents at the time. He's not the president. He's got no power whatsoever. It's more like an Archduke Franz Ferdinand, right? What's an Archduke? It's not even a duke. And what's a duke? A duck? I have no respect for titled nobility. Oh, okay, the Archduke. Oh, the Archduke just got assassinated. It's like, Chris Rock's joke, Tupac and Biggie. I don't know. I think Tupac and Biggie was bigger than Franz Ferdinand. And in terms of power, in terms of political power, Tupac and Biggie had just as much political power as Abe Shinzo had when he got shot and killed. Them's the breaks. That's what you had Boris Johnson. He said that's actually more political, more substantive. That's gonna change a lot more. Boris Johnson resigned. So that means all of England is going to have to pick a different leader. But an ex-prime minister getting shot, I mean, it'd be like, Nixon. If Nixon got shot and killed right now, he's been dead for 20 years. So, that doesn't change anything in the government whatsoever. So that's what this Abe Shinzo is like. He just left 2 years ago, and he was, campaigning. So maybe he won't get out there and campaign no more. Now, what was, this Abe Shinzo? I heard that he was an imperialist, but I'm not for sure about that. I know that he was TPP, and he was also anti-North Korea. Now, I was anti-TPP domestically for the U.S., but I can see why Abe Shinzo would want to be, in the TPP. He was also anti-North Korea, and frankly, North Korea is a bunch of motherfuckers. North Korea is a bunch of motherfuckers. They're an asshole. They're right next door. Japan's close by. So I think it's courageous. That's a courageous stance. And I think that Abe Shinzo is correct on North Korea. Both Biden and Donald Trump had something good to say about Abe Shinzo. So just our, warming of our relations with North Korea. He was a prime minister in 2006 and 2007. And basically he just had a consumption tax. He wanted to, slow the consumption of Japan down, and then he kind of backed away from that. And then he was all about tax cuts. He's known as a right-wing nationalist. I'm not for sure why. Just because he loved Japan a bunch, I'm not for sure. Consumption tax, I think, is a good idea. Tax cuts, it's, nobody can really hate tax cuts. Unless they're too, austere. The austerity measures are too much and you start cutting into social programs that people love. But Abe Shinzo, is it that Japan conference? Is that why he killed him? Because he was part of that Japan conference? I don't understand none of this. And I think that's actually the tragedy, right? Just some senseless fucking mindless killing. Japan is great. Japan is basically like America 25 years in the future. Japan actually runs a deficit. If we would run a deficit like Japan does, we would be banging here. So maybe it's good that we don't, Japan, when I look at Japan, it's like, that's what America would be if we just took our capitalistic impulses to the logical extreme ends. Japan is trying to be like America, but they're like being uber America. They're being like super America. They're like being so capitalistic and so America. It's like, goddamn, Japan, it's great that you love us, but I'm not sure if we love ourselves as much as you love us. The Japanese love America more than we love ourselves. They probably get tattoos of corporate logos in Japan, right? Walmart, McDonald's, freaking Microsoft. I don't know. They probably, right? Just joshing you there a little bit, Japan. But homemade double-barrel shotgun. So in spite of their strict gun laws, he was able to make a homemade musket. Apparently you put the gun, the bullet, and the gunpowder in different times. You got to put one in the other, and then he was, experimenting with them or something. I don't know. I think it's crazy that, I guess where there's a will, there's a way, right? Where there's a will, there's a way. Even in Japan, if you want to pull off some sort of political assassination, even though they banned handguns for 125 million people. So we're going to assume that the bulk of the Japanese people don't even have a handgun. And if you have a rifle for hunting, if they're approved, but most of Japan doesn't have any guns whatsoever, and yet an ex-prime minister just got shot and killed. And how come, was he not paying attention, and where the hell was his Secret Service at? So he's more of an Archduke Franz Ferdinand since he had no power. I think Boris Johnson resigning is a bigger deal than Abe Shinzo getting shot and killed. Unless we find some bigger political connection. If we find some bigger political connection, if anything, he just turned him into a martyr, okay? So, is imperialist, that doesn't seem to be the main thrust of who this Abe Shinzo is. The guy had a musket, shot twice. I don't understand. It's just, it's shocking. It's insane. Mindless, senseless violence. Maybe that's the point. Just have mindless, senseless violence. See, Abe Shinzo, I had nothing against him. He's got a nice head of hair, Mr. Silver Fox. So I don't even, sometimes, a bad thing will happen and then like the political record kind of corrects itself. Not exactly. There's like a bloodletting which atones for some of the, imperial excesses. But this doesn't feel like it's justice for working class. It doesn't feel like it's justice for unions, or it doesn't seem like it's going to, and it's, it's pointless. It's pointless. It's like the Empress. The Empress was shot or whatever. So it's like, you shot a person that doesn't even have power. They don't control the budget. They don't have any power, prestige. I guess they've got prestige, right? That's about it. So, yeah, R.I.P. to Abe Shinzo and Tetsuya Yamagami. You know, seems like you're just a dirty, rotten piece of shit. Fucking piece of shit, motherfucker. Just lost his shit and was just like, you know what? Was it PTSD? I mean, we supposed to support the troops always, but until when they, you know, turn on us. And was he against his policies? It just, like I said, it just seems like senseless, mindless. It seemed like there was no point to it whatsoever. So there's some of the details behind the Japanese prime minister getting assassinated.